Hi, I'm Vinnie Corbo, and today I'm going to tell you about 3 of my favorite artists that are openly gay. And why is that important? Well, actually, it's not. Someone's sexuality really has absolutely nothing to do with their ability to create art or music or perform. However, when someone makes it the focus of their art or includes it in their art, I think it's worth mentioning. And there are 3 artists that do this that I think do it well. Top of the list, favorite, not just as a gay artist, but as an artist just in general, is Glenn Meadmore. Glenn has been pretty much out since the very beginning. He got his start here in LA, working in drag shows, in LA leather bars. It's always been a part of his art, performance art, and his music. I was turned on to Glenn by Jello Biafra. We were hanging out one night and playing that game where you could just mention different artists to each other, seeing if the other guy knows it, sort of playing the obscure game. And Jello mentioned Glenn Meadmore. Now, I can't remember if Jello gave me the album or if I went out and got it at Chaos Records, but I got the full Chicken and Biscuits album on vinyl. I was blown away by the cover. Brilliant. Just had a picture of Glenn with glasses and nothing else, no text or anything. That album is very electronic and really fun, really cool. Glenn has been at this for a while, and many, including myself, would consider him a legend. Glenn has worked with many well-respected artists, including Vaginal Davis, Genesis Peorage from Psychic TV and Throbbing Gristle, and actually even RuPaul. So for the second album, RuPaul is actually singing backup on No Money, No Honey on his second album, Squaw Bread. There's actually a video on YouTube where you can see the two of them performing together, and Glenn makes this amazing entrance by sliding down a banister of a stairwell wearing a full pink bodysuit and hits the stage and just dances his ass off. It's so good. It's just something, if you have a chance, go find it. It's worth a watch. Glenn invented a style of music called cowpunk, which is basically a hybrid of punk and country music. Both which he likes and has down really good. So when he merged the two, it's done well. He is a amazing guitar player. I mean, that kind of stuff, like, whoa. And plays it really loud and really powerful. Excellent singer, really good songwriter. I mean, as far as songwriting goes, straight up good songs. Glenn went on to make 5 albums total. So the third one is Boned, and the fourth one is Hot, Horny, and Born Again. Another great album. 2 interesting things about that album. It has a song called I'm Sassy, which I love. The album cover is actually a painting by John Wayne Gacy. Glenn actually mailed John Wayne Gacy a picture of himself, and John Wayne Gacy painted the picture and sent it back, and Glenn made it the album cover. Just wild. Like, what can you say? Glenn is originally from Canada, and in Canada, he had a punk band called the Psychiatrists. They have a song called Mommy, Mommy, Where's My Dolly? And that's on YouTube. You can certainly find the recording of that. Really fun. You can sort of see where everything's starting to develop. I think Glenn is singing and playing bass on that particular song. By the way, Glenn often refers to himself as a gay Christian, so Hot, Horny, and Born Again sort of makes sense. The 5th album he did is my absolute favorite. It's probably in my top, 50 favorite albums of all times. It's called Cowboy Songs for Little Hustlers. And the reason I even mention this is because it really is about being gay, having your heart broken, in this case, having your heart broken by someone who says they're gay but is really straight, or who knows, or is confused about their sexuality. But either way, gay people get their hearts broken too. And he was very open about it on this album, and I love it. It's got some really dark stuff on it. It's got some really fun stuff on it. Funny, happy. The album has everything, and you can listen to it straight through as almost if it's one song. The packaging, beautiful packaging. I've never seen CD. I mean, it folds out. It's beautiful. The texture, everything. It's just a wonderful album. The album was produced by Steve Albini, and if you don't know who Steve Albini is, time to crawl out from under your rock. but I highly recommend this album if you're going to listen to anything. A couple other interesting facts about Glenn. His drummer is Dave Kendrick, who played with Devo and Sparks. Excellent drummer. I mean, the whole band is really good. He has this trio that he'll play out with. They support him really well. It's a fun act to see. Loud. Get ready. It's loud, but it's amazing. As I mentioned, Glenn started out doing performance art and stage acts and things like that. So he still has continued to sort of incorporate that. He actually fried a hamburger on a skillet on stage one day. He put a rubber chicken in a place that you wouldn't normally put a rubber chicken, if you know what I mean. Consequently, he was arrested at one point in Santa Barbara. I believe that was in 1989. He was doing a performance up there in Santa Barbara at UCSB's pub for their Gay Awareness Week. And I guess some of the people in Santa Barbara weren't cool with that. So, I don't know, somebody caused a problem. Somebody did something. Anyway, he got arrested, charged with obscenity, but later found not guilty. Which is interesting. If you go to Santa Barbara, there is a large gay population there. So, but this was 1989, probably a different time. I've gotten to know Glenn a little bit over the years. I've gotten to do shows with him. He's been to my house for birthday parties or whatever. He's a real sweetheart, super friendly, just a great, genuine person, and really, really talented. So check out Glenn's music online. You could Google him and find out lots of interesting stuff about him. There's plenty of YouTube videos and things to listen to. There's a great article about him that came out recently by a guy named Dean Carnage. But Glenn still plays live, and I really recommend you go see him live, especially if you're in LA or San Francisco, because the show is worth it. Plus, he does a song in the show that isn't available anywhere else, and it's one of my favorites. It's called Loose Hole Lucy. Such a good song. I wish he'd record it, but if you want to hear it, you got to go see him live. Glenn Meadmore. The second band I like is Otep. I'm sure you've heard of them. They're fronted by a female named Otep Shemaya. She's an amazing singer and even better lyricist. That's probably what attracts me to the most, although the music does kick it. Otep Shemaya, again, openly gay, and has included some of this in her material, meaning like the Apex Predator on the Hydra album. I saw Otep live in 2012 here in LA at the Whiskey A Go Go. The opening acts were Butcher Baby and One Eyed Doll. Now, I went to see Otep. I didn't know what to expect with Butcher Babies or One Eyed Doll. And Butcher Babies, I wasn't really impressed, but One Eyed Doll blew me away. Amazing band. I actually became friendly with them later when we did an endorsement deal with them for Dawes Drums. And it's cool that I saw them in LA because Otep is actually started in LA around the year 2000, 2001. And their big break was when they played on Ozfest. Otep really never came on my radar until around 2009 with the Smash the Control Machine album. When I heard that, I was like, blown away. The song Smash the Control Machine is one of my favorites. I think the lyrics are absolutely brilliant. And the rest of the album is really good. I like Rise, Rebel, Resist. They've actually got music videos for both of those songs. Again, lyrically, Otep, very, very strong. It wasn't really until Hydra that I saw something that was really pushing the fact of her sexuality with the song Apex Predator. That album, Hydra, is very, very good. Again, another step in a strong direction. Even though I've seen Otep live, I've never actually worked with them or even really met them. But there's a couple things that we have in common. One is clearly we both spend a lot of time on our lyrics, really crafting them, getting to be almost poetry, for lack of a better word, as opposed to just, regular rock and roll lyrics. The lyrics can sort of stand on their own as a piece of art. She really belts it out when she sings. We have a similar singing style. Hers is probably a little more versatile than mine, but when it comes down to it, it's rock and roll voice. Another thing in common is neither of us do drugs and we're both vegan. In fact, on our wiki page, it says openly lesbian and vegan, which I think is kind of funny because obviously it's more difficult to come out as a lesbian than it is as a vegan, although there are days when I don't feel like telling anybody I'm vegan. The guitar player in their band, Aristotle, is sort of the person that handles a lot of the business aspect of the band, the management, and a lot of those things. So he definitely needs to be credited for the success of the band as well as Otep. One thing that I got a kick out of is that recently they recorded a newer album called Cult 45, and they decided to kind of go back to their roots or do more of a retro for them and used things like a Shure SM58 Beta for the vocal mic, which, I mean, maybe if I was getting a live recording, I would do that, but never in the studio. So that's kind of gutsy, and I'm sure it gives it more of a raw feel. So kind of a cool idea, gutsy. As I mentioned before, Otep Shemaya has a lot of versatility in her voice, which has translated in her being able to do voiceover work right here in Los Angeles, most notably The Hobbit, Battle of Five Armies, and a variety of other things. So the band's called Otep. If you haven't checked them out by now, you probably should. Definitely worth a listen. The third act is Ashnikko. While the first two acts are currently still working, Ashnikko is younger, and I would consider her more of a current act. She's been around maybe only a couple of years. Ashnikko's music is kind of a fusion between pop and punk, hip-hop and electro, and her whole vibe is sort of this Tokyo look and appeal, but she still kind of puts her own spin on it that's uniquely her. A little while back, she came out on Twitter as pansexual. So for me, that's close enough to be put into this category. And she actually also uses her sexuality quite a bit in her music. So she belongs in these three. Like a lot of young current artists, she's only been releasing singles and EPs. Even her album, Demi Devil, it's being billed as a mixtape, but it's an album. But that's how they're doing it. One of my favorite songs by her came out sort of as a single. It's called Tantrum. I think it's a fantastic song, very simple. Again, she spent quite a bit of time on the lyrics, and her flow is very interesting. It's not like a typical flow. The song is simple, but actually strong. It's just a D minor scale going straight up, basically the 1, the 2, the minor third to the 5. 1, 2, minor third, 5. Dun 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 dun. So it's kind of got this. I don't want to say Egyptian because it doesn't have the harmonic or the flat 5, but it has that feel, and it's just kind of repeated throughout the song, and then she jumps on it with the chorus where she sings along with it. So again, simple, but not that simple, and it's kind of cool and it's powerful. I like it. She has another song and video called Stupid Boys. Again, a lot of it's very derivative, but I say that with hesitation because we're all kind of taking stuff from everybody, but she's using a lot of the standard hip-hop things that are in music, but she really has taken it and done her own thing with it. And so that, I give her a lot of credit. It's definitely cool. It's definitely unique. Generally speaking, she's very creative. She even has a video where she's getting waxed, and while she's getting waxed, she's trying to sing one of her songs a cappella. Good gag. I didn't think of it, but it's good. But on her more serious videos, there is some money spent, and there's something to be learned from that. Spend some money when you're making your videos. Spend some money when you're making your songs or getting your photos taken or your art put together. It's worth it, because when you look at Ashnikko, all you see is high quality. So some people might say Ashnikko is not that great of a singer, but to me it doesn't really matter. She vocalizes what she wants. She's a great performer. She's very creative. And again, in her products, she's spending some time and some money to make sure that that looks really good. For her, it's really about presentation, and the presentation is superior. Ashnikko. So there you have it. 3 openly gay artists that I really like, and hopefully you'll check them out and like them too. I'm Vinnie Corbo. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.